Good morning, students. Today we will discuss Fredholm's second theorem. जो Fredholm first theorem है, that doesn't hold in that case when lambda is the root of the equation d lambda is equal to 0. As we already discussed in the second chapter that if we have a separable kernel and the case is when lambda is root of the equation d lambda is equal to 0. In that case, the homogeneous Fredholm integral equation always have non-trivial solutions, which we obtained in the Fredholm alternative theorem. The same can be expected here when the kernel is arbitrary integrable function, and in this case also we can have a spectrum of eigenvalues as well as eigenfunctions. So the second theorem of Fredholm is devoted to the study of this problem, which we will discuss today. So the statement of Fredholm's second theorem is, if lambda naught is a zero of multiplicity m of the determinant d lambda, then the homogeneous Fredholm integral equation given by gs is equal to lambda naught into integral kst gt dt. This integral equation has at least one and at most m linearly independent solutions, which are given by gi, and these are the Fredholm minors corresponding to the value of lambda is equal to lambda naught. Here I varies from 1 to r, and these are not identically 0. And in general, any another solution of this integral equation can be obtained by the linear combination of these solutions. So here in the Fredholm minor, in the upper row we have the sequence of SIs, which we have taken S1, S2, S3 up to SR, and in the lower row we have the sequence of the variables TIs, T1, T2, T3, TR. Here R जो है that takes maximum value up to m, which is a multiplicity of the determinant d lambda. So in order to prove this, first of all we prove that every zero of the determinant d lambda, that is a pole of the resolvent kernel gamma, which was a quotient of two entire functions dst lambda and d lambda. So in order to prove this, let us consider Fredholm first series, which we had taken in the Fredholm first theorem. So by the Fredholm first theorem, the series for the entire function d lambda, that is given by c naught plus summation p varies from 1 to infinity minus lambda raised to the power p divided by p factorial into cp. Now let us differentiate this Fredholm first series with respect to lambda. So on the left hand side, the derivative of this determinant with respect to lambda we have denoted by d dash lambda. Here c naught is constant, that is independent of lambda, so its derivative will be 0. And from here the derivative with respect to lambda, so that will be p power जो है हम आगे लाएंगे, पावर एक लेस हो गई, then the derivative of minus lambda, that is -1. So we have obtained d dash lambda. Now in this summation, the term corresponding to p is equal to 1 is minus c1, and the remaining summation we have taken the summation p varying from 2 to infinity separately. Now substituting the values of these c1 and cp here. Now as we discussed in the Fredholm first theorem, small cp, that is given by the integration of capital Cp minus 1, which is the function of ss. Now for p is equal to 1, if we put 1 here, we get integral c naught ss. Now capital C naught, that is the kernel kst. Now because here we are having the variables ss, so this will become kss. So by definition, c1 is given by integral a to b kss ds, and Cp as we discussed in the Fredholm first theorem, we will substitute the value of C1 and Cp from Fredholm first theorem here to get the value of d dash lambda in this form. Now we can combine these two integrals under the same integral sign. So if we combine these two terms, we get the value of d dash lambda, which is given by minus integral a to b, and inside we have the integrand, which is kss plus summation p varies from 2 to infinity minus lambda raised to the power p minus 1 divided by p minus 1 factorial into the integrals and the integrand is k, in which in the upper sequence we have the variables as x1, x2, x3 up to xp minus 1, and in the lower sequence we have the variables as x1, x2, x3 up to xp minus 1. So these are the integrals with respect to variables x1, x2, x3, xp minus 1, and this integral that is with respect to s. So now in this summation, let us use shifting of index. So by using shifting of index, we shift this summation from p is equal to 1 to infinity. So after using shifting of index, we see that the expression in the integral sign, that is dss lambda. You can see it from Fredholm-Foss theorem, because in the Fredholm-Foss theorem we have discussed the entire function dst lambda in the form of power series. So here that t here is replaced by s. Now if we take lambda naught as a 0 of order k for d lambda, now by definition of 0, if that is a 0 of order k for d lambda, then for its derivative that will be a 0 of order 1 less than k. So that will be 0 of order k minus 1. Now from here we can see, because d dash lambda is given by this term, and if lambda naught is a 0 of order k minus 1 for d dash lambda, then we can say that lambda naught is also a 0 of order maximum k minus 1 for this entire function also. So this entire function dst lambda also has lambda naught as a 0 of order maximum k minus 1, and if this is 0 of order k minus 1 for this entire function, then for this function gamma, which is the quotient of these two entire functions, lambda naught will be a pole of order at most k. Now let us discuss the case when lambda naught is simple 0 of the entire function d lambda. Now by definition of simple 0 which is not repeated anytime. Now lambda naught is 0 of determinant d lambda, so by definition d lambda naught will be 0. Now because this is simple 0, so by definition of simple 0, d dash lambda naught, that is not equal to 0. So in this case we can say that lambda naught will be the simple pole for the resolvent kernel, which is the ratio of these two entire functions. And also from this equation we can see that, because if dst lambda, if this is not equal to 0, then d dash lambda naught, that will also be not equal to 0. In particular we can say that if d lambda will be 0 and dst lambda that is not equal to 0, in that case any scalar multiple of this will also be a solution. Here alpha is any arbitrary constant. Now let us discuss the general case when lambda naught is a 0 of multiplicity m. Now by definition of 0 of multiplicity m, it means the derivatives of d lambda up to order m minus 1, they will all vanish, and the derivative of order m, that will be not equal to 0, corresponding to the value of lambda is equal to lambda naught. So by definition of multiplicity of a 0, d lambda naught will be 0, d dash lambda naught will be 0, and so on. All the derivatives up to m minus 1th order, they will be 0, and the derivative of order m, that will not equal to 0. So for this case we will define a determinant which is called Fredholm minor. So we have defined a minor which we have denoted by dn. In the upper sequence, we have the variables s1, s2, s3, sn, and in the lower sequence, we have the variables t1, t2, t3 up to tn. So this is the Fredholm minor corresponding to lambda, which we have defined by a power series, as we have already taken the series for the determinants d lambda and dst lambda in Fredholm first theorem. Here Si and Ti are two variable sequences where I varies from 1 to n, and this series also represent an entire function of lambda. Now let us consider the power series for the determinant d lambda and differentiating it n times. So if we differentiate it with respect to lambda first time, from here the derivative of minus lambda raised to the power p, that will be p into minus lambda raised to the power p minus 1 into minus 1. The remaining expression will remain as it is, and again differentiating this term, we get d double dash lambda, which is minus 1 raised to the power 2 into summation p varies from 2 to infinity minus lambda raised to the power p minus 2 divided by p minus 2 factorial, and we have the integrals p times of the function k, in which we have x1, x2, x3, xp in the upper as well as lower sequence. So continuing this process, in general we can find the nth order derivative, which we have denoted by dn lambda, and after that we use shifting of index. So when we use shifting of index, or we can say we can replace p minus n by p, we get the nth order derivative of the determinant d lambda. Now the series which we have defined by the Fredholm minor, integrating that series n times between the limits a to b. So integrating that with respect to the variables s1, s2, s3 up to sn, n times integration. On the right hand side, integration of this expression n times, and here also we have integrated n times. Now we can compare the equations 4 and the equation 5. If we compare these two, we can see that the nth order derivative of determinant d lambda, that is given by minus 1 raised to the power n